My sister cheered, clapped when Dad slapped me before 60 people. So I made one quiet call. Hello besties, welcome to Emma's Tales. Please subscribe and leave a like for us, it means the world to us. Also, share this video with your loved ones and turn on post notifications so you don't miss future videos from us. Thank you. As you do so, sit back and relax as we dive into this story. I never heard the toast finish. Dad's hand cuts through the glow of chandelier light, and the loud, wet crack rings louder than forks against crystal. A halo of golden syrup spills from my wine glass. The stem snaps. Cold liquid beads down my arm. In the frozen hush, I feel every pair of eyes in the banquet hall aligning on the bright print of his palm across my left cheek. A 60-person audience holds its breath, except for one. My sister, Tessa, bounces on the balls of her feet at Dad's right shoulder. She pumps her fists the way children do when confetti cannons pop at birthday parties, then actually claps. Yes, Daddy, put her in her place, she calls, voice high and excited, like she's urging a horse to sprint the final furlong. No one joins her. Even the string quartet in the corner stops mid-phrase. Their bows hang suspended above dampened strings while an almost comical echo reverberates off the ceiling rosettes. Someone gasps, someone else mutters Jesus. I taste copper. The sting crawls from my cheekbone to the edge of my ear, blooming electrically beneath the skin. Behind Dad's tuxedoed silhouette, a guest's phone rises, camera lens wide and gleaming. I see the red button turn live. Naomi, Dad growls into the microphone, he's still gripping. You will not talk back to me in front of family. Have some respect. Respect. The word skitters across the marble floor like a dropped coin, rolling to no one in particular. No one here knows what exactly I said, because I'd only opened my mouth to correct a date in the story Dad was rambling through, trying to sound magnanimous at his own 50th birthday/business anniversary gala. Actually, Mom organized that charity auction in April, not June. I had begun. A harmless fact. I didn't even reach June before the back of his hand turned me sideways. I steady myself, legs quivering in heels taller than comfort. My voice would crack if I spoke, so I don't. I meet Dad's eyes, dark, bottomless wells of paternal pride long since run dry. His nostrils flare. A pearl of sweat trickles from his temple, cutting through his expensive makeup foundation. Somewhere between us, the microphone squeals, deafening, until a waiter rushes forward to cut the speaker feed. The sudden silence feels weightier than the accusation itself. Tessa hooks her arm through Dad's, her silver-sequined dress sparkling with each satisfied clap. Come on, Daddy, you were saying? She prods him, smiling around the room as though coaxing an encore. My cheek throbs in time with my pulse. I will not cry. Instead, I breathe shallowly, allowing the burn to settle, letting humiliation crystallize into something serrated, but controllable. Grandma Lillian rises from her table, the scraping chair legs echoing. At 82, she's a wisp of lace and fragile bones, but her glare could etch glass. David, that was unnecessary, she tells Dad. Soft words, but edged with disappointment only a son can comprehend. Dad doesn't turn to her. He clears his throat, fiddles with the cuff link on his wrists, golden lions biting emeralds. Family business, he says to the room, then to me. Apologize, Naomi. Everyone waits for me to crumble. That's the script. I've played the apologetic daughter all my life, patching cracks in Dad's image so the money keeps flowing, so the family photos look balanced. Tonight, the role tastes rancid. The heat in my cheek ebbs, replaced by a cold, hard clarity. My spine straightens. No, I say. Just one syllable, steady as a pulse. You could hear the chandelier crystals clink with my breath. Dad's face ticks in confusion that anyone would defy him in public. Tessa's grin falters, but she quickly recovers, snatching the mic from the waiter's hands. Ignore her. She's had too much champagne, she croons, faux sympathetic, then directs a whisper to me through clenched teeth. Don't ruin tonight. The phone lens near the dais zooms tighter. I recognize the woman behind it, Mrs. Campbell, Dad's business partner's wife, notorious for live streaming every social function. Perfect. Document everything I think. I place the shattered stemware on a side table with calm precision and dab at the sticky patch on my forearm with a napkin someone hands me. Vanilla-scented wax from the centerpieces mingles with the sour smell of spilt wine. Don't forget to like and drop a comment. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. A wave of whispers ripples row by row. Did she hit him first? Is she always like this? Poor David, raising that ungrateful girl. They don't know me, but they know Dad's polished speeches, the ones where he credits his discipline for his empire. They know Tessa's glamorous social feeds, the trips to Santorini, the philanthropic brunches, the calligraphy tattoos of Bible verses down her ribcage. They don't know that Mom, when she was alive, used to pull me into the laundry room after Dad's tempers and whisper one day, "Brightness will find you where shadows can't." Mom's not here to witness how dark this ballroom feels. I glance toward the emergency exit sign glowing red above double doors at the rear of the hall. The path is clear, the guests' attention glued to the drama at the podium. I press 2 fingers against the welt on my cheek, as if testing whether I'm awake, then step down from the stage. Tessa's voice fades behind me as she tries to salvage Dad's speech, improvising jokes about family banter. I count each stride across the parquet floor. By the time I reach table 8, the burning in my cheek has been replaced by a cold, metallic determination. Everyone parts unconsciously, giving me a corridor. They see the mark, bright as war paint under the chandeliers. None step in front of me. None reach to comfort me either. Outside, night air wraps me in damp July heat. Crickets scratch at moonlight. The Grand Hotel's garden is strung with fairy lights that feel mocking in their whimsy. I perch on a stone bench beneath an enormous oak and let my lungs expand fully for the first time that evening. My pulse still ricochets, but the oxygen steadies me. When I pull out my phone, my hand no longer trembles. The screen glow illuminates the wine spatters on my sleeve. I swipe away a flurry of notifications. "Are you okay?" From coworkers. "What happened?" From college friends who are apparently already seeing the clip circulate. My father's empire functions on quick narratives. I'll make sure mine moves quicker. I scroll to a contact labeled Margot. Last resort. Under her name is the photo Mom took of us 2 summers before her death. Margot in a navy blazer, me in a sundress, both of us laughing so hard our faces blur. Mom said Margot looked like the version of me that never learned to flinch. Margot is my mother's younger sister, a family law attorney who cut ties after accusing Dad of forging Mom's power of attorney during the chemo years. Dad called her toxic. I was 16 and believed him because believing him was easier than believing my mother's rights had been stolen. Tonight, the truth burns my tongue the way the slap burned my cheek. I hover over the call button, thumb inches from irrevocable noise. The garden door swings behind me, heels clack toward the bench. I reflexively lock the screen and slip the phone against my thigh. Tessa appears, silhouetted in fairy lights. Her smile is gone. "Naomi, get back inside," she says, voice low and urgent. Dad's losing face. "You know how donors get jittery." She gestures with manicured fingers at the ballroom. "If you don't fix this, everything Mom built will crumble." Don't forget to like and drop a comment. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. Mom built it, but Dad slaps the decorators. I reply, surprising myself with the calmness of my tone. Tessa's nostrils flare in a mirror image of Dad's. "You provoked him," she hisses. "You always do." I corrected a date. He hit me for it. "You embarrassed him on his night." She crosses her arms, her silver bangles chiming. "I'm trying to protect the family." Family. That word used to taste like cinnamon hot chocolate on Christmas Eve. Now it tastes like clotted milk. "Tessa, you cheered." I keep my voice level but audible over the distant hum of traffic. "You celebrated my pain." Her expression flickers. Maybe guilt, maybe annoyance that I noticed. It was a reflex. I look, you know Dad's temper. Apologize. We'll laugh it off inside. Maybe claim it's a TikTok skit. I stare at her until she glances away. Her eyes dart to the phone in my hand, then to the welt on my cheek. Her voice softens, sugar again. You love him too, Nye. Don't do something you can't undo. She means the phone call. Maybe she saw Mom's picture illuminate the screen earlier. Tessa underestimates what's already undone. I rise, taking half a step closer, enough to smell the champagne on her breath. Tell Dad I'm not staying, I say. And next time you clap at violence, make sure the cameras are still rolling. I walk around her, toward the parking lot. The valet kiosk glows like a lighthouse. Beyond it, the city sprawls under humid starlight. My heels click. A metronome for the promises rewriting themselves in my skull. Each step is a vow. I will not be the family's absorber of blows. I will not patch their public image with my silence. When I reach the curb, I kick off the shoes, bare feet stinging against asphalt, and dial Margot. 1 ring.
2.
She picks up with a sleepy Naomi, as though she expected this call every night for the past 6 years. Don't forget to like and drop a comment. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button.
Un día.
My voice wavers for the first time since the slap, but I steady it. I need help. A pause. The hush between us feels like an inhale before thunder. Then, where are you? I slip into the back seat of a taxi and give the driver the address of my apartment. Through the cracked window, I watch Tessa re-enter the hotel, adjusting her smile like a mask. The fairy lights blur as the cab pulls away. I'm done taking hits. I murmur into the phone. I press my free hand to my swollen cheek, skin still pulsing, a living reminder of the line just crossed. Can we talk tonight? I'm ready. Margot exhales, the kind of sigh that carries both relief and sorrow. I'll be at your place in 20, she says. And Naomi? I'm proud of you. Tears prickle, but don't fall. I end the call, lean back, and let the city lights streak past like comets. Somewhere behind me, Dad is probably raising a fresh glass, spinning a new story to salvage the night. But outside the ballroom walls, a different narrative has already begun, one where a single slap triggers fault lines he never bothered to fortify. I touch the burgeoning bruise and envision it not as disfigurement, but as an ember. Given air, it can ignite. The driver glances at me in the mirror. Rough evening, he asks gently. I meet his eyes. Just the beginning, I say. Then I turn back to the window, watching the hotel recede, knowing that my phone contains both the wound and the weapon, and that tonight's quiet call will echo louder than any slap. Sunrise dribbles through the blinds like weak tea, tinting my apartment a faint bruise pink, the same shade still blooming on my cheek. I've been awake for hours, thumb locked in a scroll that feels part compulsion, part autopsy. The 30-second video of Dad's slap now lives on 4 different gossip pages, 3 parenting forums, and 1 meme account that looped Tessa's applause over a laugh track. Comment counts climb every time I blink. My phone vibrates again. Dad's official statement has landed. White background, black serif font, his corporate crest stamped in the corner. Discipline can be painful, but love requires boundaries. He signs it David Cole, proud father. The post ends with a smiling photo of us from my college graduation, mortarboard askew as he hugs me, proof, I guess, that the hand he raised last night is the same one that once smoothed my tassel. The comments divide into neat factions. The loyalists praising old-school parenting, the outraged calling it assault, and the rubberneckers posting popcorn gifs. Tessa has already liked Dad's statement and left a row of heart emojis beneath it. My stomach tightens. Don't forget to like and drop a comment. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. The door buzzer jolts me. I crack it open to find Margot, crisp in a navy suit despite the early hour, holding 2 coffees and a brown envelope swollen at the edges. She sets the drinks on my counter, eyes sweeping the apartment with a practiced lawyer's inventory, looking for fractures, exits, evidence. You saw the statement, she says. Not a question. Saw it, screenshotted it, archived it. I reply, raising my phone. Good. Screens disappear, archives don't. She taps the envelope. I brought more permanents. Inside are photocopies. Bank ledgers with Dad's signature, emails between him and a private accountant, a deed transfer dated 3 months before Mom's last chemo round. Each page smells faintly of toner and betrayal. Where did you get these? I ask. Your mother gave me power of attorney the day before her final surgery, Margot says softly. She suspected David was hiding assets meant for you and Tessa. I've been accumulating proof, waiting for one of you to ask for it. A fresh buzz fills the apartment, this time from my own veins. Last night was the ask, I say. Margot nods. And now we move. We drive out of the city in her sedan, windows down to let the humid July air churn the scent of coffee and old paper. The cemetery sits on a hill where the cicadas drone like faulty fluorescent lights. Margot parks beneath a weeping willow and lets me go alone. Mom's headstone is marble, modest, etched with a line from her favorite hymn, Even the Sparrow Finds a Home. Someone, Tessa, by the handwriting, has left a bouquet of white lilies and a folded card. I brace myself before I open it. Naomi, learn to respect Dad. Don't make me choose sides again. No signature, just a lipstick print in the shape of a smirk. Wind rattles the willow branches. They sound like slow applause. I rip the card in half, then halves again, until only confetti remains. It drifts onto the lilies like snow. I kneel, pressing my palm flat against the cool stone. I'm sorry it took me this long, I whisper, but I'm awake now. Don't forget to like and drop a comment. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. The oak's shadow stretches over the hill, reminding me of last night's fairy light arbor. Shadows can't be outrun. They must be faced when the sun tilts right. I stand, wipe the grass from my knees, and walk back to the car. Margot's laptop glows between us on the passenger seat as she drives. Asset misappropriation, breach of fiduciary duty, tax fraud. She lists scrolling. Enough to bury a reputation like his. But timing matters. If we file in daylight, he'll spin another statement before noon. So we wait, not passively. We prepare. She glances at me. I'll draft the injunction to freeze the family trust, but we need public leverage. People despise hypocrisy more than cruelty. Capture every contradiction you can. I open my socials and begin collecting. Dad's speech about equality and kindness at last year's gala. Tessa's post claiming she donates half her influencer revenue to women's shelters. A lie. I handled her taxes once. I screenshot comments where they brag about philanthropy, then juxtapose them with last night's footage. Drive-through Wi-Fi is weak, so we pull into a gas station lot. Margot prints documents on a portable printer from her trunk. Pages slide out warm and smelling of plastic. I sign where she tells me, ink bleeding slightly from the heat. At noon, while Margot steps inside for bottled water, I scroll back in my phone's gallery, long past selfies and vacation photos, until I reach the covert shots Mom took of her own medical bills. She'd asked Dad about the missing insurance payments. He'd said he was handling it. Apparently, handling meant rerouting funds to a shell company. I send the images to Margot with a single caption, receipts. She returns, passes me water, and checks her watch. Court clerk's office closes at 4. We'll file electronically by 3 to ensure the freeze activates overnight. And what about 7 p.m.? That's when a journalist friend publishes an exposé. If the trust is frozen first, David can't reshuffle funds in response to the article. He'll wake up to chaos. I nod, pulse quickening. Not fear, but something closer to anticipation. Don't forget to like and drop a comment. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. Back at my apartment, we spread papers across the kitchen table like battle maps. Margot types, edits, redlines legal language while I catalog digital proof. My bruise has darkened to plum, an ugly bloom visible every time I pass the mirror. I take a quick photo, documentation, not vanity, and file it with the rest. At 2:30, Margot hits submit on the electronic injunction. A confirmation number pops up. She leans back, exhales. It's done. The court will process by 5. The trust will lock automatically after midnight. She closes the laptop and fixes me with her courtroom stare. Naomi, you can still walk away. I shake my head. I walked away last night. Today I walk through. A flicker of pride softens her. She slides a burner phone across the table. Use this for anything related to the case. Your dad controls half the family plan. Better safe. The phone feels small, weightless, yet consequential in my palm, like a trigger. 5:47 p.m. The sun leans low, gilding the city in copper. I'm showered, hair pulled into a tight bun, wearing jeans and the plain black t-shirt Mom bought me for freshman orientation. On the burner, I text Margot. Ready. She replies instantly. Cars downstairs. But before I leave, I open my laptop one more time. Dad's statement still circulates, but now new comments surface. Links to the viral video, side-by-side screenshots of my bruise and his smile. The tide is shifting, skepticism eroding sympathy. I post a single line to my own page, public for the first time. Truth clocks in at 7 p.m. No hashtags, no context. Let curiosity build pressure, like steam under a lid. In the elevator, I catch my reflection in the stainless steel doors, a thin line of determination where fear used to be. My cheek, though swollen, no longer feels like a wound, more like a badge. Margot's car idles at the curb. She's on the phone, voice low. I slide into the passenger seat as she hangs up. That was Aaron. The reporter, she says, pulling into traffic. Her editor cleared the story. It goes live at 7 sharp, with the financial docs embedded. We merge onto the avenue, city skyline burning orange ahead. My pulse sinks with the ticking dashboard clock. Once this publishes, Margot warns, you'll face backlash. Lawyers, trolls, maybe worse. But the trust will be untouchable and the evidence immutable. Whatever David does next, he can't erase tonight. Don't forget to like and drop a comment. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. Streetlights flicker on, each one a silent metronome counting down. 6:45. I scroll through the note Tessa left on Mom's grave, now saved as a photo in my evidence folder. Don't 6:55. Margot turns onto a quieter street lined with newspaper offices and legal firms. The buildings loom like silent jurors. At exactly 6:58, my burner buzzes, a pre-scheduled alert from the news site. Story queued. Margot parks outside her friend's law office, engine running. She looks at me, expression unreadable. No turning back, she says. I glance at the darkened windows reflecting the last sliver of sun. Somewhere across town, Dad is probably pouring scotch, convinced his typed statement closed the wound he opened. Tessa might be rehearsing a follow-up TikTok, lipstick perfect, ring light flattering. The phone vibrates again. 7 p.m. on the dot. Story published. I breathe in, taste metal, and answer Margot with the steadiness my mother once prayed I'd find. I wasn't planning to. She puts the car in park, kills the engine. The silence feels absolute, but in it I sense the first tremor of cracks forming miles away. Margot reaches for the door handle. Let's go inside. We'll need to field calls. I pocket the burner, open my own door, and step onto the pavement, aware that the ground beneath my father's world is shifting, that the slap he delivered less than 24 hours ago has amplified into a sonic boom. And somewhere deep in my chest, beneath the lingering ache, courage flickers like an engine catching. I close the car door behind me. Be ready at 7 p.m. Once this starts, there's no turning back. The first crack happens at 9:17 a.m. when a paralegal in a charcoal suit strides into my father's marble and glass headquarters holding a stamped injunction, so fresh the ink still smells like solvents. The receptionist tries to intercept her. Polite smile, corporate reflex, but the paralegal plants the papers on the desk with the steadiness of someone who's served worse men than David Cole. Effective immediately, the order states, all disbursements from the Cole Family Trust are frozen pending review of alleged fiduciary breaches. Within 7 minutes, the notice reaches the executive floor, and by the time Dad's weekly board meeting convenes at 10, A prickle of anxiety is already crawling beneath every Seville Road jacket in the room. Don't forget to like and drop a comment. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. I watch all of this unfold on a muted live stream piped through a private link from an anonymous board member. Margot's doing a small miracle of corporate espionage. I'm in her downtown office, perched on the edge of a leather chair, burner phone in one hand, steaming mug of tea in the other. The news site's expose teaser, philanthropy or fraud. The hidden ledgers behind a city icon went up precisely 2 minutes after the injunction landed. No names yet, just silhouettes and terms like misappropriation and shell corporation. But anyone who recognizes Dad's empire can connect the dots, and by the look on his face in the feed, he knows it. The camera angle is skewed, perched near the ceiling vent. Dad sits at the head of the obsidian table, tie already loosened, reading the injunction while the board murmurs. A silver-haired director leans over to whisper. Another flips through printouts of the article, headlines circled in red Sharpie. Dad clears his throat. We'll address this after the quarterly numbers. No one reaches for their spreadsheets. A director, Mr. Marlowe, VP of International Operations, raises a trembling hand. David, did you know this was coming? Dad's jaw flexes. I assure you, it's baseless. A disgruntled relative airing dirty laundry. Disgruntled. The word vibrates against my ribs. I set the tea down and lean toward Margot's laptop, studying the lines fanning out from Dad's eyes, the twitch at the corner of his mouth. Marlowe presses. But if the trust is frozen, our charity partnerships. Dad slams his palm on the table. The echo reaches me through tinny laptop speakers. I said we'll handle it. The board flinches. For a heartbeat, everything is silent except the air conditioner's hum. Then someone mutters about PR, another about auditors. Voices stack, overlap, fracture. Dad's gavel-like fist strikes again, but control is already slipping. Margot steps beside me, phone pressed to her ear. Yes, she says to whoever's on the other end. The board's in free fall. Give it another hour, then release part 2. She hangs up, meets my gaze. Ready to go home? I exhale. Ready. Don't forget to like and drop a comment. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. Dad's house, our old house, perches on a gated ridge overlooking the river. All limestone angles and manicured hedges. Childhood memories cling to it like ivy. Water gun battles on the lawn. Mom's Christmas lights tangled in the eaves, the echo of piano scales drifting from the music room. But today, every angle feels sharpened, every window a watchful eye. Margot parks at the curb, engine idling. I'll wait. Shout if you need me. Thank you. I squeeze her hand, step out, feel July heat wrap around me like a damp towel. Security knows me. The gate slides open without challenge. Birds chatter overhead, oblivious to human mutiny. I walk up the wide steps, heart ticking fast but steady, the folder of printed receipts, bank statements, email chains, Mom's medical bills, clasped tight under my arm. The front door is already ajar. Inside, the foyer chandelier is dark, but sunlight slants through clear-story windows, striping the marble floor. I hear voices in the study. Dad's clipped baritone and Tessa's higher, brittle tones. I cross the foyer. My heels click once, twice, then I stop. Dad's voice knifes through the air. Overblown nonsense. We'll deny everything, threaten litigation. Tessa, Dad, sponsors are pulling out. My phone won't stop. Let it ring. When the dust settles, they'll crawl back. I push the study door open. Dust has a way of choking if you ignore it. They freeze. Dad stands behind his mahogany desk. Tessa perches on the edge, phone in manicured hand, eyes red-rimmed. A half-empty tumbler of scotch glints beside Dad's keyboard. Too early for liquor, except when the fortress walls crack. Dad's gaze locks on the folder. What are you doing here? Delivering facts. I close the door behind me, drop the folder onto the desk, so papers fan like playing cards. Statements, emails, deeds, irrefutable receipts laid bare under the desk lamp's sterile glow. Tessa flinches, as if the pages hiss. She is wearing a silk robe, hair coiled in a loose bun, but there's an unfamiliar vulnerability in her posture. Arms wrapped around her stomach, phone clutched like a life vest. Dad's hand hovers over the documents, but doesn't touch them. Where did you get this? Mom safeguarded them. Margot preserved them. I carried them. His eyes narrow. Margot's behind this. No, you are. I step closer, voice low, steady. You forged Mom's signature while she was drugged, siphoned her insurance payouts, bounced money between shell companies. Then you hit me for correcting a date. A muscle jumps in his jaw. I disciplined you for disrespect. Funny, I say. Discipline usually involves teaching, not assault. Don't forget to like and drop a comment. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. Tessa stirs. Naomi, maybe we can discuss. I face her. Your brand manager called twice on my way here. They want to know why sponsors are disappearing. I turn a phone screen toward her. A string of social media notifications scroll past. Hashtags mocking her applause, clips of activists denouncing her as an enabler. Turns out clapping at violence is bad PR. Her lips tremble. I thought, Dad said. We were staging a joke. Was Mom's chemo a joke? Were forged deeds comedic? Dad slams the tumbler down. Amber liquid sloshes. Enough. I meet his glare without blinking. I agree. Enough. I press play on a voice memo Margot dug up. Mom's weakened voice from a hospital bed, detailing her fears about financial irregularities. The recording fills the room, each labored breath a hammer to Dad's composure. When it ends, silence blooms, thick and humid. Dad's shoulders sag as if the weight of the recording settles there. Tessa looks like she might be sick. I gather the papers into a neat stack, slide them back into the folder. Auditors will contact you by noon. The trust is frozen. Any attempt to move assets is contempt of court. Dad exhales through his nose. A bull denied the charge. You think you've won? One article, a few pieces of paper. Today's only the tremor, I say. The earthquake hits tomorrow. Tessa's voice cracks. Naomi, please. You're destroying everything. I soften, not out of pity for Dad, but because the sister I once loved flickers in her eyes. Truth destroys lies, Tess. If that's everything, maybe we build on rot. Dad steps around the desk, towering over me. The bruise on my cheek pulses under his gaze. You're my daughter, he whispers, half plea, half threat. I am, I answer. Not your alibi. I turn, open the door. Before stepping through, I glance back. Check tomorrow's headlines. Then I leave the study, the house, the years of silence that lived inside both. Outside, cicadas were like power lines. I cross the driveway, shoulders vibrating with adrenaline. At the gate, my phone buzzes, Margot's text, Part 2 scheduled for 6 a.m. I reply with a single word, ready. But the day isn't done. Don't forget to like and drop a comment. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. By afternoon, the meme of Tessa's clap, looped with canned laughter, remixed over dance beats, dominates feeds. Brands issue polite statements about reevaluating partnerships. Tessa's follower count plummets, a stock graph in free fall. In private messages, she begs acquaintances to help rehabilitate her image. Screenshots leak within minutes. Meanwhile, financial blogs dissect the injunction. Analysts predict donor withdrawals. Stock in Dad's publicly traded subsidiary dips 3% before closing bell. A rumor surfaces that the board has convened an emergency ethics committee. Margot and I monitor from her office, a war room of glowing screens and legal pads. At 5 p.m., she switches off the news ticker, rubs her temples. You should rest. I shake my head. Rest later. Tonight we draft my statement. I'll write the legal part, she says. You write the human part. I open a blank document. Words appear deliberate. Violence, even when framed as discipline, leaves bruises that do not fade with apologies. I describe the slap, the hush in the ballroom, the vow I made under fairy lights. I omit nothing. Dad's forged signatures, Tessa's applause, my mother's whispered hopes. When I finish, Margot reviews.
It's raw, she says. Keep it.
We schedule the post for dawn, 5 minutes after the exposé's second installment. Coordinated detonation. Night drapes over the city. I crash on Margot's office couch, exhaustion pinning me. But sleep is shallow, a carousel of dreams. Mom singing softly, Dad's hand frozen midair, Tessa clapping, a courtroom gavel striking like thunder. At 3 a.m., I jolt awake. Rain taps the window. My cheek aches, a reminder and an anchor. I pad to the kitchenette, drink lukewarm coffee, watch lightning spider across the sky. With each flash I imagine Dad pacing, phone to ear, lawyers scrambling, walls narrowing. Dawn bleeds pale across the horizon. 5:55. The city wakes. Delivery trucks rumble, streetlights wink out. 5:59. My phone ticks to the scheduled post. I hold my breath. 6 a.m. sharp. Notifications bloom like fireworks. The second exposé drops names, numbers, timelines. My statement appears moments later, shared, quoted, dissected. Allies, strangers, survivors of familial abuse flood the thread with solidarity. I refresh the analytics, views climbing by the thousands per minute. Dad's PR firm issues a hasty rebuttal that reads like panic made visible. Don't forget to like and drop a comment. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. The city hums, unaware it stands on a shifting plate. Somewhere, Dad is reading my words. Somewhere, Tessa is watching brand deals evaporate. And somewhere deeper in me, a knot unspools, pain loosening its grip, replaced by something stern, bright, alive. Outside, the rain stops. Sunlight cuts through cloud like a blade, gilding the office towers in molten gold. Margot emerges from her conference room, phone to ear, nods at me, thumb you piss. I grin back, the bruise stretching but not hurting. We've breached the walls. The fortress is cracking. Tomorrow the headlines will finalize the fall. For now, I step to the window and let the newborn light warm my aching cheek, already imagining the echo that will ripple when truth, at last, finishes its long climb to the surface. The morning after my statement lands feels like stepping into a world where gravity has tilted a few degrees. Every headline, every phone alert, every whispered conversation leans toward me. At 9:05 a.m. the full exposé drops. 4,000 words, 3 clickable spreadsheets, an audio clip of Mom recounting her forged signature, published in block letter font on the city's biggest news site. A banner screams, "Slap was just the start," inside David Cole's House of Cards. Within minutes, the story syndicates nationwide. Talk radio hosts dissect fiduciary breaches between commercials. Influencers stitch reaction videos to my bruise. The sympathy that hesitated in comment sections yesterday vaults decisively onto my side, buoyed by documents and the unmistakable quiver in Mom's hospital room voice. At 9:37 a.m. push notification lights my screen. Cole Enterprises stock halted pending investigation. 4 minutes later, District Attorney opens criminal inquiry. By 10, cable news sets up a camera crew outside Dad's headquarters, lenses pointed at the revolving doors like hunters at a foxhole. Margot and I sit shoulder to shoulder in her office war room, screens glowing. She fields calls from reporters and prosecutors while updating me in shorthand. Subpoenas drafted, board voting on interim CEO. DA wants your sworn statement tomorrow. I feel strangely calm, as if a wire once cinched tight around my ribs has snapped and the sudden slack lets me breathe fully for the first time in years. Still, adrenaline flutters, a caged bird against my sternum, because I know the next confrontation will be face-to-face. Don't forget to like and drop a comment. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. It comes faster than expected. At 11:12, Dad storms into Margot's lobby trailed by 2 lawyers and a security guard whose face screams I'd rather be elsewhere. His tie is missing, collar wilted, eyes bloodshot. The receptionist barely buzzes before he barges into the office. Margot stands to intercept. "David, you're trespassing." "I'm here for my daughter." His voice is raw, gravel dragged across metal. I rise, spine straight, heart steadied by the weight of everything documented. What do you want, Dad? He ignores the question, thrusting a shaking finger toward Margot. You manipulated her, twisted family hardship into slander. No manipulation, I say, stepping forward. Just facts. I place a slim stack of certified copies on the desk. Duplicates of the forged deeds, the hidden account ledgers, Mom's audio deposition. If any of this is false, refute it now. His glare flickers to each page, but lingers on none. One lawyer reaches to scan the documents. Dad smacks his hand away. We can fix this, he says to me, voice abruptly softening, the same coaxing tone he used when I was 8 and scared of thunderstorms. Retract the story. Say you were misled. I'll issue a public apology for the slap. Donate to a charity of your choice. An apology packaged like hush money. My cheek tingles where the bruise is fading but still visible, purple turning sickly yellow at the edges. I think of Mom, of every late-night lecture on loyalty Dad gave after breaking something precious. There's no fixing what was never whole, I answer. But there can be accountability. He steps closer, lowering his voice. If you go through with this, you'll ruin your sister. As if on cue, Tessa appears in the doorway, eyes swollen, mascara streaked. Her phone dangles from limp fingers. Notification sounds still chiming. Daddy, they dropped me, she whispers. All of them, new skin, Bella Fit, even the jewelry collab. Her gaze sweeps to me, a desperate search for empathy. Tell them it was a misunderstanding, Naomi. You know me. I do know her, the version who clapped for my pain and the little girl who once snuck cookies into my room when I cried over Mom's chemo. Both truths coexist, but only one can steer me now. I'm sorry the deals are gone, I say, meaning it. But sponsorships built on silence were never secure. Tessa staggers back like I slapped her. Dad turns on me again, rage eclipsing reason. You ungrateful. Margot steps between us, calm as a metronome. Mr. Cole, the district attorney will schedule an interview. Leave now or I'll call building security. Don't forget to like and drop a comment. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. The lawyers tug Dad gently toward the door. He shrugs them off, eyes boring into mine. You're destroying the family name. I'm redefining it, I say. One where dignity outranks reputation. His lips part, maybe to threaten, maybe to beg, but no words emerge. He turns, shoulders sagging in defeat or calculation, and exits with Tessa trailing like a discarded shadow. When the door clicks shut, Margot exhales. Sybil storm warning downgraded to criminal hurricane. I sink into the chair, pulse thundering. Let it blow. By late afternoon, Dad's arrest warrant is unsealed. Charges of fraud, embezzlement, and financial elder abuse. He surrenders quietly, flanked by attorneys. No handcuffs yet, but plenty of cameras. A mugshot leaks within an hour. I stare at the image. The man looks smaller, hair rumpled, eyes dazed, as if gravity finally noticed him. Public sentiment follows a predictable arc: shock, debate, verdict. Trending hashtags shift from hashtag Slapgate to hashtag Justice for Naomi. Donation links to domestic violence charities spike after I retweet them with a short caption: Silence empowers harm. Speak, even when your voice shakes. Tessa posts a Notes app apology. I was wrong to applaud. I'm seeking therapy and stepping back to learn. The comments are mixed. Some laud humility, others call it damage control. I decide not to amplify or condemn her statement. Growth, if real, needs quiet soil. That night, I stand on a small stage at a community center, speaking to 60 women and a few men who have gathered for a previously scheduled support group fundraiser. I had intended to read a prepared speech about generational patterns of abuse, but when I step to the podium and see their expectant faces, paper suddenly feels flimsy. I turn the speech over, blank side up. Yesterday, I begin, voice steady. I believed surviving humiliation was enough. Today I know survival is only the prologue. I recount the slap, the viral video, the documents that followed. I don't mention Dad's name. I mention patterns. How a single strike can echo through decades. How wealth or status can cushion abusers from consequence. How speaking out feels like detonating the very room you're standing in. I admit my fear of losing family, of public scorn, of inheriting the same anger I'm fighting against. Faces nod, some crying, some clenching fists in recognition. When I finish, applause swells, different from the clapping that haunted me. This applause mends rather than mocks. Afterward, a teenage girl approaches, sleeve pulled over bruised wrists. "Your courage made room for mine," she whispers. That alone justifies every headline, every. Epilogue 1 year later. The anniversary of the slap arrives on a warm June evening. The event hall, a repurposed train depot turned community art space, is filled with exactly 60 folding chairs, an intentional echo that makes me smile whenever someone asks why the number. A painted banner reads, "Finding Home, Launch Gala for the Sparrow Foundation." I stand backstage, smoothing the lapels of a navy blazer tailored from Mom's old favorite. Outside, donors mingle with survivors, activists, and journalists. Tessa is here too, hair shorter, makeup subdued, volunteering at the registration desk. She and I aren't sisters in the storybook sense yet, but we text weekly, and I believe her recovery work is sincere. Dad's trial concluded 2 months ago. A plea deal, restitution, 5-year sentence in a minimum security facility. He sent a letter, no apologies, only explanations. I haven't answered. Some stories end in ellipses. Others require full stops. Margot taps my shoulder. They're ready. I step onto the small stage. Lights warm, crowd expectant. "Thank you for coming." I begin, to celebrate not my humiliation, but what grew from it. I recount how the Sparrow Foundation will fund legal aid and emergency housing for victims of familial abuse. I hold up the first printed copy of my memoir, The Slap Heard Around the Hall, all proceeds pledged to the cause. When the speech ends, applause rises, not a clatter of mockery, not the polite patter of fancy galas, but a resonant, collective heartbeat. I close my eyes, letting it wash over me. This is the sound of reclamation. Mom's hymn lyric is etched on the foundation's logo. Even the sparrow finds a home. Tonight, under steel rafters strung with fairy lights, I feel that promise settle into truth. The bruise is long gone, but its lesson remains. A wound can become a doorway if you walk through it with open eyes and steady hands. I step off the stage into a throng of strangers turned allies, heart light, future wide. Somewhere, far beyond these walls, headlines have already shifted to the next scandal, the next sensation. But here, in this reclaimed depot humming with laughter and soft clinks of coffee cups, the story finds its quiet, triumphant landing. No slap, no cheer, just a chorus of voices building something better from the echo. Hey besties, thanks so much for sticking around till the end. If you felt something, learned something, or just enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, drop a comment, and hit that subscribe button.